Staff Sergeant David Mace spends a lot of time riding the trails around the mountains near Aviano Air Base.
Apparently, I went into some state of shock where I was just staring into the walls, and they said...
Leticia Mace has good reason for her fears. It was just over a year ago that her husband, Sergeant Mace, went into a coma after a biking accident.
I looked back to make sure my son was okay, but by the time I looked back on my jump, I was already going twice the speed of what I was supposed to, and it was already way too late.
And when I saw it, I just kind of frozen. Like I didn't really know what to think. I kind of just stood there and stared.
On the second impact, both of Sergeant Mace's elbows were broken, his wrist exploded, his broken ribs pierced his lungs and ruptured his liver and kidneys. On the rescue helicopter, he flatlined and was put on life support.
As I sat in the ambulance and waited, and I heard the helicopter paramedics talking to her and letting her know that he had little to no blood pressure.
With traumatic brain and spinal injuries that left him paralyzed and in a coma, the doctors gave him a 1% chance of survival. Even if Sergeant Mace did survive the surgery, the medical staff warned his wife that he would be in a coma for 6 months, and if he did wake from that coma, he would never be the same.
His bed was the very last bed in an intensive care unit because he was the worst, so they had him the furthest away from every other patient. And I remember walking in and seeing his toes wiggle.
Staff Sergeant Mace beat the odds. He woke up from his coma 3 days later. Emerging from the coma was only the first step in an arduous and some say miraculous recovery. For someone who'd been so energetic before the accident, Staff Sergeant Mace now found himself relying on others to do the things he'd taken for granted.
And I remember I tried to go up our stairs, and I remember my dad carried me. I think I got a couple steps, and my dad carried me up the stairs, and he tucked me in bed, put me in my own bed. I'm 30 years old, put me in my own bed.
It was difficult seeing him go from really good to really bad.
I went back to work in January, started trying to figure out how to jog again, how to just do everything all over again. I kicked the pain aside and just didn't stop. Just kept on trying to go further and farther and faster and push harder every day.
Not even a year after the accident, the man that doctors predicted would not survive or would remain in a vegetative state for the rest of his life was back on his bike. The same trails that nearly took his life are now a reminder of everything he'd overcome.
I went back up to Piancovallo and I re-rode that exact place where I fell. I'm not terrified of it anymore, but if you face what you're scared of, you'll get over it. You will get over it. And then you'll just learn to respect it.
Senior Airman Roman Weber, Aviano, Italy.
Fly with me, let's float down.
What the heck is this? What was that music? Don't fly with me. Don't fly with me, let's... Oh, my cigar! Now, where'd that cigar go? Only tater tot, now it's close.
The city of Lugano, Switzerland is located just south of the Swiss Alps. There, you can find the beautiful Lake Lugano. During your travels, you can view paintings from the Renaissance period, enjoy a shopping spree, or just relax and take in the beauty Lugano has to offer.
We have many things to do here because we are in a mountainy canton of Switzerland.
It's a very picturesque area to be. It is breathtaking views of the mountains, and it's very refreshing to be up in the mountain air.
If you're looking for more than just a view of the lake, you can always get out on the water. And if you're not into exploring the great outdoors, you can check out a wide variety of stores in town. Lugano, Switzerland is known for beautiful scenery such as the lake, but there's also a rich history in one of the churches.
Lugano is also very interesting for the museums and also the art collections we have in our churches.
It's very meaningful to be able to actually see a part of that history here. You know, it's really amazing. There's scenes here at the bottom where you can see where guards are fighting over his robe.
So whether you're coming to witness the amazing views of the lake, shop for some high-end fashion, or view beautiful Swiss artwork, Lugano is the place for you. From the beautiful city of Lugano, Switzerland, I'm Airman First Class Roman Weber for Europass.
What are you doing, bozo? Down here! I thought I told you I never want to see you again.
But it's been a hard day.
Oh, you got it hard? Look how stupid I look with my head on fire. Listen, wise guy, why don't you go to the Hawk for the smoking cessation class? Ah! Whoa!
Everybody look, it's Mikey!
Hey, Mikey!
Missed you, man.
My good to see you again. How's the wife?
Staff Sergeant Matt Silliman is checking Fire Truck 31 to make sure all of its equipment is in working order. Sergeant Silliman works as a fire protection crew chief at Aviano Air Base, and during his duty hours, one of his tasks is to keep all of the station's equipment in peak condition. When he's off duty, however, he spends his time making sure his body is in peak condition.
It's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle because you spend 20 hours plus a week training.
He needs those 20 hours a week too, because he's about to run the length of the Air Force PT test 17 times. That is, of course, after he's ridden his bicycle 112 miles. Not to mention that his 26.2-mile run and his 112-mile bike ride are after a 2.4-mile swim. This is all part of an Ironman triathlon. Matt will be participating in a Canadian triathlon in August of 2014, and right now he's obviously in training mode. When asked what caused him to adopt this intensive workout schedule, he said that his motivation initially started from one man's instigation.
It's a funny story. My assistant fire chief, my first base, one day during PT, we had a 2.5-mile cross-country run every Wednesday, and he beat me, and he made fun of me so bad. As a master sergeant, I was at A1C. He said, "You gonna let this old man beat you? You're slow." And from there, I took it personally.
This instigation fueled Matt to compete in several triathlons, and it also inspired him to keep going until he reaches Ironman status. But when Matt's love for the sport and his dedication to success bring him to the finish line, he knows that his feelings of accomplishment will carry on into other areas of his life.
To look back on triathlon or things of that nature and say, I did that, why can't I do this? And then you do it.
Luckily for Matt, his hobbies of swimming, running, and biking all bring him closer to achieving a competitive finish time at the Canadian Ironman Triathlon. Instead of only conquering the challenges life throws at him, Matt willingly takes on new challenges that will also prepare him for the numerous physical and mental obstacles he faces in his Air Force firefighting job.
Copy.
Senior Airman Roman Weber, Aviano Air Base, Italy.